So, shit 10. Scatology.
Studying shit with James Pryce Davies of
Happy-
Kayso Grande.
Happy to be studying shit with you.
Can I call you Jimmy?
Yeah, if you like.
Have you been called Jimmy before?
Yeah. All of the guys from when I started playing music would call me Jimmy. Playing with Blind Dog and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
So they'd all call me Jimmy and stuff. Felt me cool. Made me feel cool because Jimi Hendrix.
Ah,
Even though
of course. Did
that's
you ever
where
get...
that's where the similarities stop.
That's where the similarities stop.
Especially
That's
then,
gold.
I was absolute dog shit. I've got the live album that we did to prove it, but Donnie was amazing. Donnie was, I don't know if you know.
I know Donnie, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Well, anyway,
They don't.
they don't. So he was,
They should.
they should. Blind Dog Donnie. Look it up online. There's a bunch of videos. It's one of, he's like a Brisbane blues legend kind of guy. He was booking the Hotel Orient when Powderfinger were coming up. So he was booking them and stuff like that, and was in the support band that played before Kiss.
That's a
When
great
Kiss
story,
first-
actually.
yeah, when
I've heard
Kiss
that
first
story
toured.
from Donnie. Yeah.
Yeah, he had his backstage pass. I don't know if he's still living behind the Indian Kitchen, to be honest.
I don't even know if he's still living.
It was weird
friend.
because when we stopped playing with him, me and Alex, he was hanging out with, I don't know, does this violate the no names?
Just first names. It's all good.
Oh, anyway, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's kind of a dodgy guy in the picture. We'll just put it that way. Who was out of prison for killing someone, basically, and so he was sort of in the picture. It was a very dark sort of period, and he was threatening to kill Alex, and that was
Seriously?
yeah. He had Alex's number, and he didn't know where Alex lived. It was all bluff, but he was saying, "Oh, you got to call the cops, man. I'm coming. I'm going to kill you. It's going to happen."
Whoa.
It was all over just paranoia. He thought that we were going to take his gig or something along those lines, and that was it for us. And
Yeah.
and so we left. But I don't know how much longer old Donnie's got to go. I'm actually sort of surprised that
Yeah.
that he's still going. So I'd be
Yeah.
keen to bury the hatchet with him, even though there's not really much of a hatchet to bury. I've seen him.
Oh, Donnie's a Keith Richards.
Yeah,
He's like preserved.
yeah, Keith Richards and cockroaches after the nuclear explosion. And Donnie.
Yeah.
And Donnie.
Yeah. I have a bunch of cockroaches on drums while those two guys jam. But yeah, so that was a weird period. Good little anecdote to start off, I think.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
invincible Donnie.
I'm playing, speaking of Donnie,
Yep.
who also, he used to be with Little Thie and the Delta Rhythm Kings, like absolute classic Brisbane blues band.
Footage of them playing at the Blues Fest,
I remember
Yeah.
Little
the really
Thie.
early ones.
Yeah, Little
Is she
Thie.
still hanging about?
She
She's
lives
in
in-
northern New South Wales now,
Oh, okay.
and mostly plays gospel stuff these days.
Oh, really?
But yeah, he was
good.
he was the guitarist in Little Thie and the Delta Rhythm Kings, and before Cooge was the drummer for the Delta Rhythm Kings.
Yes.
There's a guy, Trevor.
Yep.
And
TC. He had a different bass player as well.
must have done.
Yeah.
There's a dude called Trevor, and I'm starting a band with him. And do you know Greg Baker at all?
No.
He's another kind of blues legend. He's incredibly reclusive, man.
Right.
He recently did that thing with Mojo. What was that called? Do you remember the name of Mojo's last project?
Mojo had a
the-
different project,
Oh, what was
not
it
himself.
called? No, it was
Mojo Webb.
yeah, Mojo Webb and Coogee and Greg. Oh, it'll come back to me. Halfway through the podcast, I'll just shout the name of some band.
Greg, bass player.
Greg, no. He's a harp player and guitarist and singer.
Oh.
And he's one of perhaps even Brisbane's best blues harp player.
Right.
And he's got a long history, man, as a blues man. And so, yeah, anyway, he recently did a project with Mojo, like they played Woodford and stuff like that, and lefties, but the dude is a lunatic. He'd like wear like a colander on his head. He'd play an entire gig with a colander on his head because he was a believer in the Pastafarian Caliphate. His god was the great ball of pasta in the sky. Like he's just nonsense. It's just nonsense, man.
No, hang on. I think that guy's onto something. Tell me more.
Yeah. Well, it's the flying spaghetti monster.
Really?
Yeah, that's the actual god.
Is that this whole, like, atheists often say, like, as a joke, God, it's the spaghetti monster? Is that
the flying? Yeah, basically.
Okay,
yeah.
So the whole thing's a joke.
It's just a joke, man. And so that's kind of the thing with Greg, is that life itself is a joke except for music.
Right.
And so along those lines, he writes the songs that we're playing with the Cool Fools, is like with Trevor, the drummer, and Greg, harp and singer, and guitar occasionally. It's like Kevin Bloody Wilson meets the blues.
Oh, okay. So it's a bit like
Rodney Rood,
because he actually played.
Yeah. Rodney Rood meets the blues.
Yeah.
You know? And so, he's got just this. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. But it's just this. It'll piss all the radical feminists right off.
Right. He's a man out of time.
Yeah.
How did you get mixed up with him?
Well, he'd seen me playing since I was with Natural Ball. So he used to teach Mark.
Touching my leg with your foot.
Yes, with my rainbow shoelaces and everything.
And it just keeps happening, and don't address it. You just keep talking. Like I move your foot out of the way, sort of just gently, and you just firmly put it back.
Yeah. He used to teach Mark harmonica and was a great mentor for a lot of those guys of like the generation of blues players before our generation.
He taught Mark the harmonica.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Okay.
You serious?
Yeah, Mark had already been playing, but in order to get some like real tips on how the fucking classic professionals like Junior Wells and all of those guys, how they do it. Yeah. So he's a harp genius, man, this guy. In every other aspect of his life, he's a lunatic. You know, like you walk into his house, he'll show you his rubber chicken collection, that kind of thing. You know, and then tell you all the rubber chicken jokes that he can think of
in that moment.
He's got a thing for rubber chicken.
Yeah, he's total clown, man. I really like the guy. When I say lunatic, I don't mean anything negative.
Right.
So he came and saw Natural Ball play back in the day. When I first joined Natural Ball, when I'd started playing blues after I'd just been playing punk, and then trying to translate punk to blues and trying to understand what the fuck is going on. And so that's when he first saw me. And so because of that, like he's seen me play a lot over the years. And back then, there's no way he would have ever asked me to play with him because, I was just a young punk, young being the thing. Like I hadn't matured as a player, really. And hadn't really gotten a handle on what the blues was about, according to his definition.
Right.
But yeah, because of that, over the years, like he's been touring across the country for decades, and booking gigs in Adelaide and festivals in Adelaide, and he's been over here for a long time now.
Are you saying he was your major influence into the groove? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. All right. Don't mind me.
But I knew who he was back then, but we didn't have a lot to do with each other.
Right.
I wonder if I might know him if I saw him.
You might actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around the traps a long time, but he, as I said earlier, he is quite reclusive, so he doesn't go out to a lot of gigs either. But you probably would have seen him around because you've been involved in the blues scene for a long time.
Yeah, I'm a bit reclusive as well.
Mm. Yeah. Well, we're all musicians, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but are we all reclusive? Let's
I
ask
can be.
Rob.
I can.
How many musicians have you done your work with? Do you speak about your work?
I can speak about my work. Musicians, couple actually, a couple. Can't mention names, of course, but yeah, I've had clients that are musicians. Yeah,
Reclusive?
they're on YouTube, lots of songs.
right.
Reclusive. I think an anxiety can be a thing with musicians.
Right.
I wouldn't say reclusive, otherwise you wouldn't go and play, would you?
Um,
But you still get, it still seems to be an anxiety thing with a lot of musos.
Well, there's that old joke.
what's that?
How do you make a working musician complain? Book him a gig.
But like we were talking about before, everybody gets anxious. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Only if it prevents you from getting on stage, then it's a problem.
Well, something
Right.
that I've had to learn how to do is to turn my anxiety into stage presence. You know,
Oh,
so just
do tell. How have you done that?
it's
Just turning your back to the audience.
yeah. At times I
He
do
did
that.
that on the
Shut
first
my goddamn,
podcast.
shut my eyes.
Shut my eyes.
But just like you get
Funnily
those,
enough, I actually find late because I played at the Caloundra Music Festival in the afternoon and with Sunnies, and I've done a few gigs with Sunnies, and that's much easier.
oh, absolutely.
Done the full Bono.
Absolutely. I like playing in Sunny's
Okay,
too
the
because
Sunny.
I don't have to worry about what people might be thinking that I might be looking at.
Yes,
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Though you're 100% looking at the cute girl in the front row,
Yeah.
and everyone they still know it.
That's it.
Regardless
but
of the Sunnies.
it takes the edge off for us.
The one with the old jugglies out,
Oh, jeez, that's offensive.
that happens. They consent. They get them out. You're just
Understood.
you're just a witness.
Can I
That's
get
never
a
happened to me at a
witness?
gig. I don't think.
No?
Donnie used to do this thing where he'd say, he'd finish the song and he'd be like, wow, you know, the people would cheer and stuff. And he'd be like, wow, that's the most fun you can have with your pants on. And then someone in the audience took their pants off
Oh.
and we're dancing in the next song just in underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my story for the day.
Sure. I was in a band.
That somebody was probably Jeremy.
No, I remember who it was.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't yeah, I do. I knew who it was. I knew who it was when it was happening. I played there for
Gold.
like 7 years, and you got to know some of the people, and I was like,
He
Phil,
likes to get his
you know, what are you
pants
doing,
off.
Phil?
Apparently, he likes to get his pants off.
Only when there's
Tell.
ladies involved.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
A
disappointed.
couple of weeks ago, he lost his pants at a pub,
What?
and he doesn't wear undies.
So you went full commando.
I had to.
He was.
What
Well,
happened?
I don't even know, man. I was like blackout drunk, and before you know it, I'm standing there with no pants on,
Where
no
was
keys.
this?
in the valley somewhere. Lucky I didn't get raped, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That would have been terrible.
Yeah. No, they didn't even kick me out.
Who were
Just-
you playing with?
Oh no, I was just there seeing a friend's band.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're damn right. Lucky that you didn't get kicked
Yeah,
out.
that's it, man. Kicked out and raped in the street.
Yeah, Take
I used to
that.
have a bit about that.
you did.
That's the next song title. Kicked out and raped in the street.
It's a good punk song.
Let me
man.
guess. It's
Yeah.
going to be in a major key. Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, but with a minor sixth thrown in there. Yeah.
Oh, I had a question before. Influences, yes.
Where do I get
Influences.
my ideas from? I don't really know. I'm a big rock guy. Love my rock music. And
Top 5 rock guitarists.
Angus Young's got to be on the top. For me, I like Slash.
Daka,
I guess.
Slash.
Oh, jeez, you put me on the spot here.
What about Frusciante?
Yes, yeah, John Frusciante's definitely up there. big fan of John Frusciante. I really liked the Stadium Arcadium album.
How good is it, man?
As a
I love
result.
the harmonies on that album.
It's a
They're just
Frusciante album.
Mhm.
He goes
Totally,
pretty nuts
totally.
on that. I don't know who else. Jimmy Page is great. Hendrix, of
Fine.
course. Those would be the
Anyone
five.
else?
But that's
Anyone
everyone's
else?
five.
Anyone else?
Can
Can you get to 10?
I've sort of stopped listening to individual musicians of late, and I've kind of bit more of a song guy.
Oh.
Like, I've sort of become less and less enamored with individual wizardry on instruments.
And go on the narrative.
Not even so much the narrative, Rob.
The overall narrative.
Yeah, like say, that bloody song "Horses,"
Oh,
Daryl
goodness.
Braithwaite. But I was going to start doing this acoustic thing.
What is it with this horses? Byron talked about horses.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, shit. Yeah.
Did you have him on the podcast?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Second week, I think. Third week.
Horses.
He was here for 3 weeks.
He said he gets...
just
We
talking.
couldn't get rid of that.
We
little
We asked him the
slug.
same question about guitarists, and he was up to 4,000 by the time we said get out.
He said people are demanding horses.
No, he
from
started
him all
with
the
Gary
time.
Moore, and I told him to get out.
Oh, hang on, Peter Green, of course,
Oh, for fuck's
Peter
sake!
Green.
Absolutely.
100%
Yeah.
terrific.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? Yeah. Anyway, so to take that as like the worst example of a song, like if you had to have a meme for bad song, that would be up there. But I sort of had to learn that. I was doing this
True story.
acoustic.
Stop asking us to play horses.
I was
Comments.
doing this acoustic thing with this girl that didn't quite go anywhere. But anyway, I had the chords there. When it goes up to the chorus, it modulates up to the fourth. Sorry, nerd speak, everyone. And then it goes, so I think it's in G, and then the chorus goes up to C.
Yeah.
And there's that little transition point before it where it's kind of transitioning up. And even little things like that, I go, oh, that was clever. You know, the way it gave you a sense of forward momentum. It's shifted now. This is the chorus. Most people aren't going to be consciously aware of what's going on. They just know that something
There's
is
some
moving
kind of
forward.
lift.
There's
Yeah.
some kind of a lift happening. And so when I hear those kind of little tricks, even in a crappy song, like I could be listening to almost anything. And if I hear a little trick like that, it'll generally perk my ears up and I go, oh, how do they do that? And I'll kind of work it out and stuff like that. So I guess I'm more influenced by, or more interested in songs these days as opposed to individual musicianship. Like the guys in my band, Lachlan and stuff like that, are in their 20s and they're like obsessed with. We're talking about what's his name, the bass player, the Monster Gentleman guy, John Cleary.
Yeah, John Cleary. But
And
I don't remember the name of his bass player, which is classic. Nobody remembers the name of bass player, so it's fine.
yeah. But guys like Thundercat and stuff like that, which I've been exposed to through Lachlan and stuff, and when they talk about, like, they can get into songs obviously as well, but when they talk about music, and I can remember it being the same, it's all through the lens of, oh, that guy's just a monster player, he's absolutely killer. Whereas I appreciate competence from a musician, but I don't really care. They only have to be so competent.
Because they have to serve the song. Is that what you're saying?
I just mean, if it's all about their playing, to me that's not interesting. It's just not
Don't even
interesting.
care.
I don't even care.
Right on.
That serving the song thing is something that people say a lot, but I just think they have to be competent enough to be able to play the material competently and comfortably. And so long as they can do that, anything else after that's sort of a bonus.
And that's exactly why Blood Sugar Sex Magic is better than Californication. Because you've got the complete album, which is basically one big song, versus a bunch of songs on Californication.
Oh,
Are
so
we
we're
on
gonna
the same wavelength there?
no, definitely
No.
not.
No, Californication, you bastard.
Yeah.
So
I
are you saying that Blood Sugar is like it's an overall narrative
Man, it's one song.
compared to Californication
Mate,
as
I
a
used to
collection
just-
of songs?
That if you want a sleeping pill, you just need Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
But why the fuck would you
By
want to
the
listen
time
to
you get
music
to
for a
Sir-
sleeping pill? Christ almighty.
By the time you get to Sir Psycho Sexy, it's lights out. From start to finish. Just
but yeah,
they
but then you
blend
miss
into
out
each
on
other
their
all
red
the way
hot.
to the end.
Do you ever have that moment where you come across someone who's a little bit like the younger version of yourself and they're digging on, but you see all the flaws in you that you had and they're digging on the same tracks for the same reasons and you think, oh, you get like the douche chills and you think, oh, that happened with me with Surf Psycho Sexy.
What do you mean?
I can remember being that 17-year-old and going, yeah, man, he's talking about sexy stuff. He's telling a cop to suck his dick. Ooh, and that's a fat bass line and blah, blah, blah. It's like porn music. Even though
Kind of, yeah.
you know,
And then you
whoa,
grow
that's
up.
edgy, man. Whereas, and then I was living with this guy briefly who was like 19, and that was like his anthem. That was
So
like
Psycho
his,
Sexy.
he's like, yeah, he was like super awkward guy. I was a little bit troubled by him, to be honest. I was glad that he moved out, but I saw enough of him in me, and that he would put that on at parties at 2 a.m. and be like, yeah, man, this is my jam. And everyone else would be like, oh, probably put on, I don't know, Give It Away or something by them that we know and like. And he'd be like, no, man, this is where it's at. Listen to the lyrics. And I can just remember thinking, oh, God, that's probably something that I would have done.
So he killed
Song killed.
it. He killed it.
It was
He
the
killed
same with
for
that
you.
fucking song, St. James Infirmary.
Who's that by?
I don't know. It's one of those old blues folk songs that's depressing as fuck. And it's all about this guy who went down to St. James's Infirmary, which is, I guess, like a morgue.
Mm.
And he finds his woman, she's lying out cold on the thing. And it's this long-winded thing, and she's dead. And I played with Donnie and stuff like that. But I can remember, like, being into heavy metal and stuff in my teen years. And then you had this kind of flash moment when you thought you were more sophisticated listening to blues, and then it was like, no, man, you think that Slayer's heavy. This is heavy, man. This is heavy, and that was the same. He was in that phase, and then I just got the douche chills again. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, sure.
And so I'm playing brushes on a snare drum with a band at the moment. These guys, the Recliners. And they wanted to play it, and I just put the fucking kibosh on that. I was like, no, douche chills alert, not doing it. But anyway, Chili Peppers, Californication, better album than Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Not the popular opinion, but the correct opinion.
Oh, there's plenty of
Correct.
people. I think it's a generational opinion.
I think that's definitely part of it. So are we going to do this? Are we going to give everyone the background? Did I post that? Is that how it came about?
You did post it, but when I last year or earlier this year, I did a thing like songs or albums that related to my own mental illness, and so I put a song from Californication and I said, or from the Chili Peppers, and I said that I think this is an eternal debate. Which album is better, Californication or Blood Sugar Sex Magic? I fall on the side of Californication. But when I posted that, I kind of knew that you were going to post something because we'd had a conversation in the past, back when we were playing in Rumblefish together, and you just had like a thesis that you're just like, this is why it's better. And then you actually posted a lot of that stuff online too.
Yeah, I think I screenshotted the track list on Spotify of both of them and put them side by side and said, look, overall, it's a better album.
Better songs. More 5-star songs on it.
More 5-star songs on it. What I will say, though, is that I think Sugar Sex Magic, you could certainly argue that it's got their best songs, like Under the Bridge.
Pop hit.
Yep.
Don't
Give It
think it's their
Away.
best.
I mean, that's their song. Under the Bridge is their
Oh,
song.
for sure. It was the first Chili Peppers song I ever heard.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Like that's their. I don't even think they don't enjoy playing
Hey,
that
see,
song.
That's
all that
why I
much.
said it's generational. Because I was into Chili Peppers from the start, man.
You're
From
going
the
old school.
start. Freaky Styley is one of my favourites.
Not
That's
mine.
the George Clinton produced one.
It's really interesting. I talk to people now that are, say, late teens, early 20s, and they fucking love the Chili Peppers just as much as we do.
But they're into the latest
But
one.
they've only gone as far back as Californication. They haven't even heard Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Wow, really?
Yeah, they haven't gone that far back.
Wow.
And so I was showing them some songs like Give It Away and stuff like that, and going, dude.
Was their
This is
mind blown?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely.
You did a good job.
And like I brought them, they'd actually. Sorry, I got mixed up. They'd only gone back as far as By the Way, and so I showed them Californication and blew their goddamn minds. And then I said, and then listen to these songs.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the thing about the Chili Peppers is that when did they start? 80 what? 80
1 or 2.
81 or 2.
Long
And now
time.
it's 2019, 92, 2002.
Because 91 was
30 odd
Blood
years,
Sugar
man.
Sex
30
Magic. And
odd
you already
years.
had 4 albums out by
30
then, I
odd
think.
years, and they're still gaining new fans. It's amazing to me that a band can be that good. So,
Yeah, I think you're 100% right about the generational thing, because that was Californication was one of the first albums I ever got, like bought the CD. But there's been a couple of bands that Dinosaur Jr. I got into late, but when I went and saw them live, everyone was asking for the earlier songs from like the 90s and stuff. But they're getting back to songwriters. I think that the dude's a better songwriter now. Like what'll happen, I think, is as an artist, unless they completely fall off by the wayside, an artist that's continuing to grow and evolve, their consistency goes up.
yes.
So in other words, they
Yes.
don't just put out trash. But they might not necessarily have the peaks of from before.
Yep.
But they're going to have less filler. And by my estimation, Sugar Sex Magic, not to keep bashing it, but it's got a fair deal of filler on it.
Apache Rose Peacock.
Whereas Californication has less. And I guess I always go into bat for those later albums because I like to see artists still working and still putting out music, even though they might not be as popular. Californication, that doesn't apply because they were hugely popular at that time.
Oh, but they sucked after Blood Sugar Sex
they-
Magic. What was that?
No.
What was that bloody?
Oh,
What
yeah,
was that
with
bloody
the
album?
The first time Frusciante first
With Navarro.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
So
One-
I'm not-
One Hot Minute.
or
One
something?
Hot Minute.
One
yeah,
Hot Minute.
yeah.
Oh, that
I'm
was
not looking forward to what's going to happen now that Frusciante has left again.
They've
Because
done 3 albums with the other guy.
yeah,
Josh
I haven't even bothered listening to
Klinghoffer
it.
or
man.
something.
I haven't even bothered listening to it. I've seen some YouTube clips and just gone,
Yeah,
Doesn't
One
sound
Hot
right
Minute
to me.
lost me, and then Californication got me back again. But One Hot Minute, nah.
He's
No.
yeah. But yeah, I just
Never bought that album.
I've never even listened to it, man. I've heard Roller Coaster. That's the only song I've ever heard off One Hot
Do
Minute.
yourself a favour.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Aeroplane.
Oh yeah,
Did you hear
that's
that?
right. Aeroplane.
Something.
It's my aeroplane.
Let's be honest, Anthony
the
Kiedis
singles, I
can be a
hated
little bit irritating.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I went down to Woolai at the start of this year with my girlfriend and we were listening to Chili Peppers pretty solidly. Just after a while, I was like, Kiedis, you're a tool.
He's a dick. He's a dick, man.
No, I think he's great, but just
He's a great big
there's
cock.
better lyricists. Like there's other singers and lyricists whose lyrics I don't get sick of as quickly.
Example.
I'm right into this country guy Sturgill Simpson at the moment.
Yeah, man.
He's great.
King of Shit Mountain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
What
yeah.
kind of country?
It is. Oh, put a pin in, put a pin in that. He's released this album it's on Netflix, and it's all with like Japanese anime.
Oh, really?
And like
it's
samurais and
country?
shit in a post-apocalyptic world. His latest one's not. I don't know what to make of it just yet. I was listening to it on the way here, but his country music before that was sort of like the Flying Burrito Brothers and Graham Parsons and stuff like that from the 70s to the early 80s. And then I guess somewhere along the line, country music sort of started splintering off from the rest of American music. Like, you know, when people say, oh, it's Americana, that's what country music used to be, from what I can sort of tell. Like
it's
stuff
no
that
Hank Williams, though.
What's that?
It's not Hank. It doesn't sound like Hank Williams.
No. But yeah, like the stuff from the I'm kind of talking out of turn. I don't know a huge amount from that era, but basically, from what I can gather, country music wasn't as partitioned off as it is now. Like basically, you can tell all of the guys of like pop country music now, you know, they've got a certain aesthetic. There's got a certain political persuasion potentially. It's its own. It's the South. It's we're country. Blah blah blah. And listen to us, you know, sing a bunch of music with crappy '90s hip hop beats. You know, this is what sort of country music has become now. And it's also one of the last music forms that people still buy, compared to other music like the physical copy. And my theory for that is because a lot of the audience, same reason for Christian music, because the audience doesn't believe in stealing. And so country music still makes a lot of money, or proportionally more money on its physical sales.
That's an interesting angle.
Yeah, on its physical sales. But anyway, that's a whole separate thing. But during the 80s and the 70s and the 60s before it, there was a beautiful period when they were collaborating with, New Orleans sort of style music, and there was much more of a melting pot going on. And at some point, it became more separated. Sturgill Simpson sort of represents like a resetting of the clock. Whenever I probably never really stopped, but he's sort of come back, and now I think not this album, but the one before he recorded with the Dap Kings.
He did that.
Yeah, at least some of them. That's
really?
I heard that.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
And
I've heard a few of his songs, not just the one that you showed me. I went and what's that song called? Top of Shit Mountain. If you wanted King.
The Crown.
The Crown. Yeah, great song, man. Really great song.
It was a song we did. Sorry, it was a song that we did together in Rumblefish. Jez and I used to play in a band, Rumblefish.
Yes. And it was a blues rock covers band essentially.
If you're a Brisbaneite, you'd know the band.
Yeah, you would have heard of it.
You guys are
probably
everywhere.
not, but anyway.
No, you guys are everywhere.
You guys in the States that I'm certain, and
If you're a
Russia and
Brisbane-
China that I know are absolutely 100% watching this show. Basically a blues rock covers band called Rumblefish, and James was the fearless leader for about 7 years or something like that before I ended up joining the band.
Fearless leader. Yeah.
So I joined the band after about 7 years of the band existing. He started playing as Blind Dog Donnie's backing band.
Yeah.
Yep. And then he'd be off somewhere on one of Blind Dog Donnie's little adventures.
Well, we started the band. Sorry to cut in. We started the band while about a year before he sent his hitman to kill Alex, our drummer.
Yeah.
So we were still playing with him. We were running an open mic night. It's a real short story. We were running an open mic night at the Boundary Hotel on a Wednesday with myself and Alex. And Rob, that's how we met. Rob, I met Rob in a bar, and he said I play guitar. So Rob showed up and started playing. And it was less than a year, about 9 months, something like that. And we had heard that someone else was running an open mic night at that pub, maybe on the Thursday. And ours was a complete schmozzle. Yeah, it was going to be Mark, the Colonel, and Mojo or something. I don't know if that actually ever happened, but
yeah.
But anyway,
Mark, the Colonels had a jam going for fucking decades, man. So I don't doubt that they looked at the Boundary as a
I don't even think it really, or they ran into money issues or something like that. But
at the Boundary, what a shock!
We had heard about it, and Rob had been coming pretty much every other week at that point, and I just said to the guys, look, they're going to beat us. Like, they got a better night, and they know what we're doing. They know what they're doing. We would play, I used to call it blues bukkake. Because we would have like 4 harmonica players who couldn't really play very good, just jizzing all over some poor dead blues artist's song, just taking turns, just jizzing all over Muddy Waters' song or whatever it was. And so I used to call those the blues bukkake sessions. That's what it was for me. But literally one night we had 4 harmonica players playing on stage at the same time. And each wanting a solo.
Oh, yeah.
It was painful.
And
it was
24 bar solo each, I'm sure.
Yeah. It wasn't the 12 because it would take them 12
to wind up to what they really needed to say.
Or to work out, or to work out that they're in the wrong key. Or whatever it was.
Oh, God. Yeah, I've jammed with some harp players like that too.
Yeah, anyway. So that's how that all started, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so Rumblefish was born out of that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And who was your first bass player?
Rod. Rod was a friend of a friend, and feels a little bit uncomfortable talking about past bass players with you, but I suppose it doesn't really matter. Man. What's that?
Don't even sweat. It's fine.
Don't even sweat. Rod was great. Rod actually left us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
what was his catalyst? Why did he leave?
Because we were all a bit lackadaisical.
Right.
Really? Yeah. We would hang out at Alex's and watch fails videos on YouTube
and call it rehearsal.
Yeah. And eventually
distracted.
Rod was married, and Rod was going to move to New York anyway, and that's where he is now. And he's had a kid and he's still married and all of that. But I think he was looking at a limited amount of free time that he had, and really he sort of looked at what we were doing as just being a bit of a time waste, to be honest. So that was kind of sad when he called us up and left us. But eventually we got our act together. I think we were always okay. The problem was we had a regular gig, and so we didn't have to really hustle too much at that point, and so we were kind of coasting, I think, and didn't really know exactly what was involved in
and life happens.
Yeah, and life happens. But anyway, that was a while ago then. But yeah, that was Rod.
That was your first one. Yeah.
That was the first. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. You had a few. I think. Who was your longest serving bass player? Was it Maxine?
No. I think it was probably yourself.
Me? Oh, okay.
When did you join?
I think I played with you guys for about 18 months, something like that.
No.
Or was it longer than that?
No, it was longer than
when
that.
When
did you come back from Sydney?
I came back from Sydney in 2012, joined Devil's Kiosk, and that was my sole project for probably 3 years.
Yeah, so it was like 2015.
2017, maybe I joined your Rumblefish.
No, it was before that. It was like 2014, 2015.
2015. I'd say
at the
okay,
latest.
So 2012 is when I decided, right, I'm gonna totally focus on music. But it was a couple of years before I started joining other bands, because I was totally focused on just the single band Devil's Kiosk at the time. and then we weren't getting many gigs, and it's like, well, I had
Gotta branch
I had a
out.
really good chat with Harvey, who was like, dude, you've got to be in more than one band.
Mm.
Like, you just have to be in more than one band if you want to be making any kind of living out of this. You got to be in more than one band, and so that's when I joined Rumblefish. So man, it must have been like 2014, 15.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit!
So yeah, you were sort of
Right, 3 or 4 years. Wow.
But see, being
That
on
was
the
a
other
while.
side of that, it's interesting because with Kayso Grande at the moment, a bunch of the guys playing a bunch of different bands. I look at our shared calendar, and it's a fucking apocalypse.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Lockie's touring New Zealand and stuff like that with Power.
Yep. He's doing a bunch of different stuff.
Asabi would be booked out,
She's
I'm sure.
massively booked.
Yeah. Because she
And
acts
so-
as well, doesn't she?
She does a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll do theatre
That's your
runs and
new.
stuff.
That's your new singer.
This is our new singer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
Lockie's the bass player as well.
And
The
your
bass
old
player
one
of
went to
Kayso.
Europe.
our old singer went to Europe. That's right. Georgia went to Europe.
She was such a good singer, man.
Which is great. Yeah.
Still is, I'm sure. So's Asabi, got to be honest. Fantastic.
I'm very fortunate to be in bands with the musicians that I've been in bands with.
Mm.
Almost completely, that's true. There's been one or two, but it's been like, ugh.
Yeah. Especially your longest serving bass player, I'm sure.
Yeah, shocking.
Fuck that cunt.
But anyway, yeah. Look, I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's the thing is, being the wrangler of bands that I've been lately, having musicians that have got a bunch of different things on, and then you hear about other bands telling their musicians, or you hear it through, and they say to them, no, it's either us or that's it. And at first I sort of thought, oh, that seems a bit insular or whatever, but I have to tell you, I'm a bit worn down with doing all the calendar swapping and changing and everything like that. I can understand why people make those requests of the musicians in their bands.
I think if you want a certain caliber of musician, you've got to be at a certain level as a band to start making demands
to
like
us,
that
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or you get people who are kind of part-timers or
That's
whatever.
it. That's it. You sacrifice musicianship, or and there's a line to be surfed, I think, a wave that you can surf.
Well, I can remember when you called me up. This is in 2016, and I'd been booking. I had a good little run where I was just booking shows left and right for Rumblefish, and you called me and said, "Man, you got to tap the brakes, or we've got to work something out." 'Cause I've been told.
Yeah. That's it. It's like
filling up too much.
Yeah, that's right. I can moonlight, but as long as
And also
this
cancelling.
band is first. And like when you're playing in a band that's, for us as Blues Arcadia at the time, that we start picking up these interstate festivals, there is a point where I, as a bass player, have to say, well, where's the line that I can surf between all of my commitments? It's impossible to just be in one band. It's impossible. And for me, for a bass player, that's why so many bass players are in so many different bands, is because, well, say with Blues Arcadia now, right, we'll get a lot of really good gigs. We've got the Mornington Peninsula Festival booked in. Like, we're getting really, really good gigs, but
that's awesome.
they come in a couple of months apart.
Yep.
I need something in the couple of months, and I can't just give the middle finger to the people that I play with the months that I'm working real hard with that one band. I've got to give time to the guys that I actually work with more. Like, say, with us, with Rumblefish, we were gigging every week, man. But Blues Arcadia, why can't I say that word? Blues Arcadia were gigging like once every month or two.
Wanting to keep the calendar open.
Yeah, and wanting to keep the calendar open, which is totally understandable because it's an originals project. You'd totally get that with Kayso. Like, if you were still doing Kayso and Rumblefish, you'd choose Kayso over Rumblefish.
Yeah, but it's different because I get to make the decision.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
I was
and so
always
that's
in
the thing,
sort of
as
driver's seat.
a musician in
Bloody guitarist.
bands like that.
Oh no, it was
Musician-
just because I've managed both of the bands. It was more of a management thing. Obviously, I could make the decision. You could. Everyone's got the ability to make the decision. But what I mean is that if I got 2 dates, it would be me deciding which date would get played.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. But say you were, if you can put yourself in my shoes, say you're playing guitar for another band, and then you've got Kayso, which is like 100% yours, right?
Yeah.
Like you're the songwriter, or at least the primary songwriter, if not the sole songwriter. And you get you're booked in the covers band, and then your baby gets booked for the same night. It's not really a tough decision for you because it's your thing. And the same way as say like Harvey and say for example Harvey and Al are the primary songwriters in Blues Arcadia. Then we get to the studio and work out the arrangements. If Harvey as like he's kind of the initiator, like he plays the guitar riff, then Al writes the song over the top.
Who books your shows?
It's been Al. Al's the main guy. We had Harvey doing some, but it's mostly
Kath have
Al.
something to do?
She was helping.
Kath
She was
has a lot
helping
to
as
do
well.
with a
She was
lot of
definitely
things.
helping. Yeah.
Kath Butler,
And then
Royal Mail, shout out. Send me a message
hopefully-
today.
yeah.
Thanks for that.
we're
For
actually
sure.
in negotiations with a booking agent as well.
Oh,
at the
cool.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And I think that's pretty much set in concrete with them, but I'm not going to talk too much about it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, say for example, Harvey is the guitarist for some covers, some Pandy Panel Van or something like that. He plays with Pandy Panel Van. It's totally different from the Rumblefist situation. But say he's got an off gig doing some covers, and someone offers him a Blues Arcadia gig as the initiator of the songwriting. It's just a no-brainer.
Can I summarise?
Yeah, please do.
Because I have listened. I think you're talking about the difference between being a creative versus being a sessionist. If you're the creative, you're going to prioritise that gig over a bit of session work.
Creator.
Is that what you're
I think
talking
we're all
about?
creatives.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're more invested when it's your thing.
When it's your thing. Yeah.
Rather than just standing in for somebody and playing.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm also saying that Blues Arcadia is my thing too. I'm just not a songwriter, a primary songwriter. It's still my creative project.
But you're more invested in that than, say, doing a gig with
A late night gig at Lefties
somebody else.
can be a pain in the ass kind of choice to have to make and to be put on the spot.
But you're
in
going
a
to
democracy.
prioritise your main thing.
Yeah.
Your most creative.
Yeah.
Gig.
The most creative outlet. Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's tricky because you've got to.
It is tricky, man.
I had to start working again because I wasn't making enough. This year's been a bit of a struggle in terms of booking shows and things like that. And I actually wanted to just really get into helping people again. So I've got back into disability support, which has been going pretty good. But
Music is helping people.
What's that?
Music is helping people. It's our purest form of magic.
Unless it's Rick Astley. And
But just got rolled.
Yeah, we all just got rolled. But yeah, look,
Rick Astley?
I don't even really know where Rick Astley. Never gonna give you up.
Oh.
Never gonna let you down.
Right.
Say that to the man wearing the Sex Pistols jacket. Of course you never knew it.
I kind of heard, it reminded me of, it rung a bell. But, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it's this interesting relationship between people who are managing bands and the musicians that are in those bands. And
so you can probably understand where Al's coming from then. When Al's so there's been, it's not just me in that situation with Rumblefish. There's like the rest of the people in our band have other gigs, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And so you can kind of understand where he's coming from with this whole kind of wanting a little bit more exclusivity over your musicians.
Yeah,
which is understandable, right?
Kind of.
Kind of. It depends how you go about it. I
Still got to pay the bills.
Wanting, not demanding. Here's the thing, though. Al would
never demand it.
never demand it, right?
Yeah.
Because he understands the life of a working musician.
Mm.
You know, so it's not a demand; it's a desire, more than anything else. Like it'd be so much easier if everybody could just do this at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. So I think.
But you understand that it's not viable.
I get it, but it's an imperfect situation, and the imperfect part of it has sort of been grinding me down lately, and not.
I stress, you mean?
Yeah. Like I said, I'll just look at the calendar and just throw my hands up in the air sometimes. You know, like there was recently where I looked from. This has become a complete whinge sesh, but I looked from like May to December, and there was only 4 Saturdays available.
Yeah, man.
And you go, you got to make your money, you got to do your thing, but
you need to.
Are we a band?
Right,
are we
man.
playing gigs, or what the fuck
That's
are we
right.
doing? You know,
And that's
And
right.
it's always
man.
the Friday and Saturday you got to squeeze
That's
in.
right.
and it's like,
And-
we'll find a
Exactly.
replacement. It's like, well, how about I just kill myself right now? Because guess who will be training the person up? This fucking guy.
Yeah,
You know.
So
A
go
lot
to
of
the pub
time.
every day of the week and watch bands every day of the week, because then Saturday and
Not
Friday
so much.
won't be as much of
The-
a problem.
Yeah, maybe, but that's kind of where lefties fell over, is that they tried to have live music 7 days a week and they went broke.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe that was part of it. I don't know.
yeah. They
But-
stretched themselves too thin. Take Monday off. Don't drink on a Monday, because if you drink on a Monday, you're an alcoholic. Take Monday off. Go
I
to
just
the
would have
pub
loved if that pause
every
just
other
had
day.
lasted longer.
a little bit
And
longer.
we just had just gone, and that'll be us. Good night. You know? And we'd all just decided that was the end.
Yeah.
Screen to black. But just to sort of close this thread, because I feel we've sort of gotten to a bit whingy territory, which I've sort of steered into, which I
Nothing
feel bad
wrong with
about.
whinging.
But
So-
I would just prefer people be more available. It's not that I want exclusive.
Sure,
exclusivity. But on that point, though, when you hear about like Oasis getting big and you hear them saying, "Oh, we were rehearsing 5 and 6 nights a week," how many bands are doing that these days? Very few.
Very few.
And it's like, I want to be part of a band that creates something great.
Yeah.
Part of me does anyway, you know. I understand, a part of me understands that things have to, you know, be realistic with people's money and stuff like that. But when you hear of these stories and you think, oh, we're only able to get together so often, what are we even doing?
Yeah, man.
It gets a bit demoralizing from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I totally know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
why you don't play for Rumblefish anymore, because your whole footsie game you're doing.
Rumblefish
Yeah,
was
yeah. The-
Rumblefish
The
was
discomfort
surpassed.
with the
Jeremy-ness.
situation. But I see you've changed Nikes. You had those.
I
Did you
had,
paint those black? Is
no,
that what happened?
I tried to, but they ended up falling apart before they turned black, so had to get a new pair. But I got these for Christmas.
Hang on a second. Sorry, finish your story. And
Well,
then
I got
I'll-
these for Christmas, and it's like, oh, they're not very bright. I like bright shoes, so I bought some rainbow laces because I'm like, I'd love some coloured laces. I'd love red laces, but that's racist. I'd like white
Oh
laces.
no, you can't have the
but
red
that's-
laces.
but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
racist.
Total
Why-
skin.
I'd like blue laces, but apparently that's some other thing. Green laces is some other thing. Yellow laces is some other thing. So it's like, fuck. I want bright laces. Every colour is bad.
No laces.
So
I don't like
you.
laces.
I'm going to get all colour. I like
Rob?
bright shoes. See,
Yep,
that's
I
the
see
thing.
your shoes.
I'm,
Very nice.
I'm a big fan of my rainbow laces, actually.
Have you told your red Nikes shoe story from down in, where were you, in Ballarat?
Somewhere around some shitty part of Victoria, actually. I've actually...
Have you ever told that story on the podcast?
I've talked about it a little bit, actually.
Do you know the story that we're talking about?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
very eager.
I was hanging with an idiot.
Hang on, you were on tour.
I was on tour.
Yeah.
I must have talked about
You're on
it
tour
when
with
Trickett was
Byron.
on. Yeah, I think I talked about it a little bit when Trickett was on.
Okay.
So I was on tour with the Sunset Junkies, and I ended up meeting up with a friend of a friend who's apparently a big speed freak.
Basically, you walked into a
And then
Walter White type situation.
I did. Yeah, I did. I walked into an ice den, essentially, where this guy was trying to use me as collateral to get himself some drugs that I was.
He wanted to take your
I was
shoes
the
to
money.
pay for drugs.
Yeah. Anything I had on me, take the boy. Take the boy. You can have the boy.
Oh my god!
And but it didn't take long. Well, it did take. Unfortunately, it took two
Take
times.
the boy. What is that? What's that fucking movie?
Take the boy.
Take the boy. That's that.
It'll come back.
That's that fucking Australian horror movie.
Which one?
We'll think about it in a second.
Wolf
Keep going.
Creek.
No. Keep talking.
Yeah,
I'll think about it.
And so I had these red Nikes. They were like my shoes. I pick a pair. I'm a big fan of Nikes. They're the most comfortable shoes when you're dancing around on stage.
ethically sourced. You know.
That's my favorite thing about them. Yeah, slave labor.
Love
it. Love it.
I don't get
But-
the premise though. You're saying that somebody tried to politely rob you. Can I have your shoes and buy speed or some shit?
He didn't
Is
say
that
it like
what,
that.
What?
He was offering the madam my shoes.
So he's robbing
against-
you
Basically, he's robbing me.
with your consent.
No,
No.
I didn't know what he
No?
was talking about.
Oh, okay. So he's just
He
robbing
wanted
you.
drugs,
wanted-
and so he
I
didn't have
wanted-
money. So
I
he
wanted-
looked at Jez, who he didn't know, and he said, "Fuck this guy!
He
I'm going
didn't
to
know- he
steal
knew
his
me-
shoes from his
knew me
feet,
through
so I
another
can go
friend.
around and buy drugs."
Did he
Yeah.
actually steal your shoes?
No, because apparently, if my shoes had been blue, they would have been worth stealing. But nobody wants red shoes.
Is that what ended up sealing the deal?
That's what she said to me.
Well, to be fair,
And-
they did
and-
kind of fade pink.
Yeah, and that's what
So
she.
maybe that's what.
That's
they were
what that's what she actually said to me. It's like these guys are gonna. The madam told me that this friend of a friend, like he's say in this situation, we're all on this couch right here. Fuckface is in the middle. Rob's the madam. James is me. She ends
Thanks
up
for
leaning.
not making me the fuck face.
She ends
Thanks
up
for that.
leaning across fuckface and saying, he's offering you as collateral. And I'm like, I had no idea that that's what the fuck was happening because I don't find myself in these fucking situations.
So he was
right?
planning to rob you
Yes.
and said, "I'm going to take this guy's shoes
Yes.
for my
But how did
speed."
you not cotton
Yes.
on? Was he speaking coded language?
They were whispering to each
They
other.
were whispering to each other.
Yeah.
What else was going on?
I was watching a movie with some pregnant ice addict. Yeah, smoking billies. Watching.
Was
a movie.
Byron there?
No.
He wasn't part of this.
No, because they booked a hotel that only had 2 beds, and I'd already slept several nights on a queen size bed with Trickett, and he gets cuddly.
Who's
Yeah.
Trickett?
Trickett, drummer, Sunset Junkies.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
guy with dark hair.
Yeah,
he
that's
gets
the one.
cuddly.
Gets cuddly, and I'd had enough, and I saw the place.
He gets fucking cuddly.
Gets cuddly.
What does that fucking mean?
Like he'll roll over in the middle of the night
And just
throw
put his
a big
arms around-
hairy arm around you.
Oh, okay. That's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. And so they booked this room.
If you're not into that sort of thing,
If you're not into that, not that there's anything wrong with that, but Trickett's not my type.
that was actually the problem. Yeah.
And so I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going to go do that. I'm just going to have my own adventure. And ended up.
And you knew someone in town.
Yeah. I knew a guy that I trusted in town, and thankfully the guy that I trusted doesn't trust this guy anymore, so that's good. He'd been told for a long time that this dude wasn't trustworthy, and it was all proven when he tried to steal my shoes. And so this madam over here said, "You'd better watch." There's a few other guys in the room actually. And she's just said, "You'd better watch these guys because I tell you, if your shoes had been blue, they'd probably be gone already.
Oh, jeez.
but nobody.
Was the guy that you knew there?
Yeah,
He
You're in
was
New
there.
South Wales.
In
it's down
Victoria.
south in Victoria.
Oh,
So
Victoria.
that's
So
the
they
whole
were-
thing of
they
this
were
story is that Jeremy.
red.
This isn't just somewhere in Brisbane. Jeremy's in Victoria. He
I don't know
in
where
a
I am.
he doesn't really know where
Don't
he
know
is. Doesn't
anybody.
really know anybody.
There was
and
somebody that I was told that was trustworthy.
he's worried that he might
And
get
I'm-
disappeared
Yeah, and
in Ballarat.
I was too naive to see any of this coming because it's not the sort of shit I do, right?
I'm
No.
going to start selling blue shoes in Victoria. Apparently, they're popular.